Get into it. I don't want to spoil it now. But on the right, we have Miloslav, again, one of Europe's most premier players, one of the world's most premier players, if I'm honest. And he is playing Gardevoir EX. But a fun fact, he said this is the first time, well, this is the first event he's played Gardevoir, and he's doing really well. Maybe he should just start playing it sooner, Miloslav.
Absolutely, and of course, Brennan Kamerman, an absolute champion after my own heart. He loves to play single prize decks just like me. So very pleased to see him here today and rocking one of the format's biggest contenders of single prize champion records.
Yes, and we've got the prize cards there. Nothing too impactful, I feel, for most players. Miloslav does have that one copy of Reversal Energy in the prizes and one copy of Work. It is his only copy of Work. And keep an eye on that. But for Brennan, this prize the heavy ball, but hasn't got a basic Pokemon there anyway. So he doesn't have to worry too much about that. And that is his one of two copies of Counter Catcher. So, Abe, if I were to tell you, let's just see if we can piece together this puzzle. Brennan is playing a Lost Box deck. I've already mentioned there's a bit of spice in there, and we've seen a Fire Energy. What sort of clues does that give you?
That might denote that he could be playing a Charizard variant of sorts. That could either be Charizard EX, we've seen that with Lost Box, or it could be the Radiant Charizard variant of Lost Box. I can't think of many other fire types unless, I don't know, I'm going to say something crazy. Are you ready for it? Regidrago?
Regidrago, not quite. We'll keep that a secret until it is Brennan's turn. But it is over to Miloslav, who's kicking off our round 15 here at LAIC 2024. Miloslav has got a Scream Tail inactive and looking to play an Ultra Ball. Now, folks, we have seen it on stream already once. This is the no VIP pass version of Gardevoir EX. Wow, that is a costly Ultra Ball, actually. Ooh. Look into this card, a Curlier and a Shining Arcana Gardevoir as well. These are integral for the Gardevoir deck to function.
I think the hand looks relatively clogged, to be honest, Shay. It doesn't look like Miloslav has any other ways of getting any other basic Pokemon into play right now. So they're going to have to settle for finding a Super Rod later and getting those back at a later date, because at the moment their Screamtail is screaming about being on its own and definitely needs a friend on the bench.
You're looking by the artwork, it actually looks like it's screaming like, help, give me some friends, please.
Yeah, please. I'm lonely. Where is everyone?
As we do see Miloslav, they're just going to looking to do the prize check it, and it is worth knowing, you might have seen it on that prize, on that looking through the deck already, does actually play that copy of Jirachi, which is going to be very impactful, because that Jirachi basically tells your opponent, Sableye, well, you're using Scratch, to be honest with you, or you could just Lost Mine the active. You can't Lost Mine the bench, because that Stellar availability prevents all damage counters placed on your bench Pokemon by your opponent's basic Pokemon. So we saw it in the last round, being able to target or stop Metacham's Ogaloop, but it also stopped Lost Mine in the exact same way.
Yeah, I think Jirachi is one of the largest kind of counters that we've seen in recent times to Lost Box. One of the only cards that can stop Sableye in the mud. So we're looking at really the small tech of making space in your deck for Jirachi by taking out things like the Battle VIP Pass package might benefit Miloslav quite a lot here, allowing them to not be targeted by Sableye quite so heavily if they manage to get set up. We do have a Radiant Greninja, but I believe no energy in hand, and they pass the turn over to Brennan.
Only one Rolls. So let's see. Escape Rope is going to be very live here. Kamerman could be very live here, as Brennan does start off the turn there with a Flower selecting. And it looks like it's going to be a basic Psychic Energy getting sent to the Lost Zone and keeping a copy of Counter Catcher, I believe. We do see Artisan being played. That's a stadium card that lets you search your deck for any Pokemon without a rule box, and you pop it straight onto your bench. And eagle-eyed viewers might have already spotted something in Brennan's deck, which is a little bit strange. And if you saw it again, let me talk to you about why.
There's a shadow lurking in that deck.
Let me talk to you, viewers, as to why Brennan is playing one copy of Roaring Moon EX. So, I was actually chatting to Brennan in the hotel a couple of days before the event. We were discussing, how Lost Box can adapt in this new format. And we came to a little conclusion that if you play Radiant Charizard, that essentially gets you a 2-prize KO against stuff like, Iron Hands, Chien-Pao. And Roaring Moon, that Frenzy Gouging, or Calamity Storm even, is almost a guaranteed 2 prize cards as well. Meaning, if you can just weave in a Frenzy Gouging, a Combustion Blast, and Lost Mine for 2 prize cards, that wins you the game.
I wonder whether Roaring Moon or Roaring Scream is going to make more noise in this battle, as Scream Tail also can make a lot of ruckus.
Yeah, so both players, I'm really intrigued to see how this plans out, to be honest, because Brennan is a fantastic Lost Box player, one of the world's best, and he will know his way around this archetype, and clearly it's been working well for him. We do see the Artisan is going to target a Comfey. We do have a switch card. Looks like Brennan is debating whether to play, and we are going to see Flower selecting activation there again, has a Jet Energy or a switch card, opting to Lost Zone the Jet Energy. We don't see a Colress yet, though, so we might not see the Spit Innocently turn 1.
No, and they are just passing that over. Unfortunately, only 2 in the Lost Zone. Not the best, but both players have had slow starts, but leaving Artisan in play might just get Miloslav enough time to catch up.
Let's see. Yeah, so it does have the Artisan, so can search out any Pokemon out of rule box, but is going to opt to... no, Artisan first. I like that. So that guarantees you a Pokemon, then you can refine and hope to draw into something else, maybe a Bull Search or a Fog Crystal Search or anything like this. One defense that Miloslav does have in this matchup outside the Jirachi is the 2 copies of Avery. Avery is really strong against Lost Box decks because it's going to force them to discard till they have 3 Pokemon left. So that means the Comfeys that we know are crucial for getting cards in the Lost Zone will have to be forced to be discarded.
Okay, Miloslav has managed to get that first Curlier, and here comes the first refinement of the deck. Here we go into a Fog Crystal. Go ahead and grab a Psychic type energy. I imagine that's going to be concealed cards straight away, but Miloslav is using this opportunity to have a look through their deck and just double check those prize cards or double check some counts of crucial cards. So once we see the concealed cards, I mean, at this stage, I think Miloslav is just looking to strengthen their board, right?
Yeah, I think so. And it is worth noting that Curlier does have, in the discard part, I should say, there is a Curlier, there is a Shining Gardevoir, Shining Arcana Gardevoir, and a Gardevoir EX. So we do see a Super in Miloslav's hand, but that will have to get played at some point. As we do see the concealed cards, I don't think Druin's anything particularly helpful. I think it's Psychic Energy and Reversal.
Yeah, it's not looking great, but I think we have Jirachi there in Miloslav's hand right now. They're just keeping it close to their chest for the time being, just to make sure that they do play it at that crucial moment. They're not in any danger right now. It would be really difficult for Brennan to be able to get 8 cards in the Lost Zone this turn. Going straight in with the Colress Experiment, they get a look at the top 5 of their cards and put 3 of them into their hand, put the other card in the Lost Zone, however, and we see Iono, and is that a Battle VIP pass join the Lost Zone?
Yes, it was. So we're going to keep a Beach Court, a Sableye, and that Roaring Moon as well. Lucy Comfey, Flower selecting activation, getting rid of that VIP pass, easy choice there, and does have an escape rope. So that means now Kamerman is live, but he might not opt to, we're not going to play it yet. Going to Flower select first. And let's see what this one's going to Lost Zone, the Nest Ball.
Yeah, strengthening the Lost Zone at this stage of the game, especially with Miloslav's equally slow start, is crucial. It's incredibly important to make sure that Brennan is going towards those crucial counts of cards in the Lost Zone. 4 being the first for Kamerman,
yes,
and then the next being 7 for Mirage Gate. So if you get yourself on the way to the next milestone before the next turn hits, it just makes your whole schedule of play easier.
As we do see Brennan also getting the Jirachi down as well, which is really interesting. Prevents all damage counters being placed on your bench Pokemon. So that would stop Cresselia, right?
No. Moonglow Reverse, I believe. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
it's going to place
counters.
them. Yeah. So, yep, you're going to be able to... although the wording says move 2 damage counters, you're still placing them upon a different Pokemon, so it does prevent that. I also think it's just a really good card for the mirror match.
Yeah, no, you are correct. So as we do see that Spit Innocently KO into the active Scream Tail, the Scream is way all the way to the discard pile, and let's see what Miloslav can cook up here. They're going to debate what to promote, and I think when the hand isn't as great, these sort of decisions can be super important. So we are going to go for the Curlier. We do see a top deck, and let's see what Miloslav can do.
So they've still got plenty of card draw, which is nice, but there aren't loads of Psychic type energy in the discard pile yet. So I imagine that's what Miloslav's going to be attempting to go towards. It looks like they're readying up for a Super Rod. They've got their 3 choices there just outside of the discard pile. Yep, there we go, and in they go. Those were just Super Rodded back in. I know that we can't quite see Miloslav's discard pile right now, but that was a Super Rod.
Yes, we use that Super Rod being played, as we see the Artisan as well, going to pluck that Volt straight back out of the deck and get it into play. I think we're going to see some important refinements here. I don't think Miloslav currently has a supporter in hand, so we'll need to try and find some. Remember that 1 copy of Worker is in the prize card, so that is 1 less draw supporter for Miloslav to find here. Does have concealed cards available as well? And let's see. We're going to see that concealed cards first. I'm going to discard a basic Psychic and draws into another Refinement Curlier and another Energy, I believe.
Yeah, there we go. We're still going, refining the deck, making sure we're thinning the discard piled energy out of deck. And oh, lovely. It's time for our own Jirachi, another Curlier. And once again, we're playing Iono.
Iono, a fantastic card. Miloslav needs to find that. They're going to give him a fresh hand of 6 and puts Brennan's hand down to 5. Now, Miloslav attached that reversal. Would love to try and find a Shining Arcana Gardevoir to attack this turn. I don't think we see it yet.
No, I don't think a Gardevoir is shining just now. We need a little bit more time.
Refinement left. Do we see it? Ultra Ball or Arcana? No.
Oh.
I think that was Avery and a Boss's Orders, I believe. So now that reversal energy is stuck there. So we'll either have to pay retreat to preserve your Curlier, or you leave it in the active, both of which aren't particularly great for Miloslav.
Neither are great. This has been a really slow start, and I suppose this is what might become typical of the lack of Battle VIP Pass build, is having to take a bit more time getting ready and just. But then again, Jirachi lends itself to that, right? So yeah. I'm not against it. I like it.
So let's see what Brennan does here as the turn goes get passed over to him. Miloslav did retreat into that Radiant Greninja, which does have 130 HP, which means spits innocently from that Kamerman, as we can see on screen. Doesn't quite reach there. So let's see what Brennan does. Trying to consult on what to do. Does have a Sableye play, but obviously cannot use Lost Mine, or at least target the bench Pokemon with it. At least for now. Does have 6 in the Lost Zone. Still has a little bit of work to do before we can get the Mirage Gaze activation or that Lost One. As you can see, the Lost One, if you have 10 cards in your Lost Zone, you can place 12 damage counters. But while Miloslav Jirachi's in play, those damage counters have to go into the active. They cannot target the bench. But if you do, they just disappear. Yeah,
I'm not sure that Brennan actually has much to do in their hand, and they don't have many ways of drawing cards right now. I think it might just be benching this Sableye, having a check through their deck to see what their prize cards could possibly be, and then maybe a Spit Innocently, considering that they might be able to Lost Mine that later. Yeah. Sableye might be able to tell Greninja to get lost later on in the game when Jirachi's been dealt with.
Very true, that Lost Mine could cut. I quite like this idea of going double Kamerman here, though. You know, while you're Sableye, while you're going to have to jump through some hoops and maybe try and, you know, clear via Boss's Orders or something like this, it means that the Sableye isn't as effective, as we do see a Lost Vacuum being played to get rid of the Artisan, as now Brennan's Lost Zone is getting to 8, which means Mirage Gates are live. And there is one in hand.
We love getting to those, and nice milestones for Lost Box, but we do move on to Miloslav's turn with 110 damage on their Radiant Greninja. That's not too scary, especially with Jirachi still there protecting anything on the bench from damage counters.
Yeah, so it does mean that if that Radiant Greninja can get to the bench, it will be safe from a Sableye, at least while Jirachi. Oh, but here we do see the Avery. Going to force Brennan to discard 2 Pokemon, go down to a free bench, and we are, maybe.
It's a really tough decision, this one. They're consulting the hand, and yeah, they're keeping the Jirachi goodbye to attacking Pokemon.
Yeah, and I think over time, those Averys can be really back-breaking for Lost Box decks to deal with, because now you're going to force them to start playing Chlorophyll cards. They don't really want to play Chlorophyll, as we do see Miloslav now playing a Fog Crystal and searches that for a basic Energy or a basic Psychic Pokemon, and looking to go for the Cresselia.
Unlike Avery's outfits, this will be no sunshine and rainbows for anyone playing against them.
As we do see the Cresselia go into the hand now. So look how big that hand is. So many options, and we still have the refinements to go.
Yeah.
We have only seen the concealed cards be used this turn.
Yeah, there is still so much potential for Miloslav. Unfortunately, Brennan is slowly but surely filtering behind in this battle. They may be ahead on the prize cards, but Miloslav has such strong and domineering board presence that it might not stay that way for much longer.
We do see the refinement being used, discarding the mana fee. Going to draw 2 cards. We see level being played as well. Let's go find another Curlier potentially. As we do, so we want to see 3 refinements available. We've seen 1 being used, so there's 2 more. And let's see what Miloslav does. It looks going to play another Fog Crystal. It's got another basic Psychic, so you can discard that off the refinement. So that means when that Gardevoir EX does come down, there'll be plenty of Psychic energies for it to reattach via its ability Psychic Embrace.
Yeah, it's a really strong position to be in, and being able to put... I suppose what I'm thinking here is Miloslav relatively safe to just attack with the Gardevoir EX? Gardevoir EX has such high HP at 310 that it's difficult for traditional Lost Box decks to KO it. However, Miloslav is none the wiser, apart from a little hint at a Darkness Energy attached to Comfey there for the Roaring Moon. So if Miloslav has been clever and clocked that, they might be able to avoid their Gardevoir getting munched by Roaring Moon.
Yeah, either one of those attacks like Calamity Storm, as long as there's energy to discard, stadium discard, I should say, we would be able to KO a Gardevoir EX. As Miloslav does do another refinement. So it does look like going to move that Cresset to the front of his hand, has a Psychic energy as well. I'm not, wait, do we even see a Gardevoir EX? I'm not 100% sure we do. Is he an attached retreat into the Gardevoir and a pass?
Oh my goodness. This is going to give Brennan the potential comeback time that they need, right? He just needs to be able to solidify their position on the board a little bit more with their Pokemon.
Yeah, and I guess Miloslav just trying to offer up as many Pokemon as possible that don't immediately get KO'd to a spit innocently. Cresselia can do that with 120 HP. We are going to see a Beach Court giving the basic Pokemon in play 1 less retreat cost, and we do see a Comfey Flower selecting activation. There's Escape Rope and Clara are the 2 cards.
Oh, they're both great
both
cards.
Really good, yeah.
That's difficult. I think if I was in Brennan's situation, I would want the Escape Rope because the Clara, although she's fantastic, not great right now because the Sableye still isn't live yet. But we might be, how many is that now? We're close, right?
We're at 9.
9. But we need the Escape Rope to get to the 10, and Kamerman can take a KO this time.
Yeah, and I guess Clara could have been interesting because we have seen some Pokemon get discarded by the effects of Avery. So we are going to have to keep an eye on Brennan's Pokemon recovery as we do see that split innocently as Brennan takes his 2nd prize card. And let's see if Miloslav can get a Gardevoir EX in play.
I mean, Miloslav with that gigantic Concertina hand, it feels unlikely, but they are still yet to find one. I think it's absolutely absurd that they haven't been able to find a Gardevoir EX yet. The deck is smaller than that hand, or very close to being.
Does draw into a 2nd copy of Avery, which could be backbreaking, actually. Maybe that could be the supporting angel. As we do see it.
Here it goes.
Wow.
Poor Brennan. He's allowed a bench. He's not allowed a bench. He's allowed a bench. He's not allowed a bench. Oh, there's just the hokey cokey up in here.
As we do see the mana fee hit the discard pile as well as a Comfey as well, I believe. So now that 1 copy of Clara in the Lost Zone could be really impactful as Miloslav does evolve into a Shining Arcana Gardevoir and uses that ability to get a look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put them in your hand, and any basic energy you find there, you can attach.
Right, looks like there is an Ultra Ball in Miloslav's hand now. I think I saw one, which means they might be able to get this Gardevoir, but maybe they're trying to dig for a Super Rod first? But I feel like there's another in the deck. I don't think there was one in prizes. I'm pretty sure their prize cards were both quite tame. But it looks like they're going to keep going. They're going to keep digging. They're going to draw the whole deck.
They're getting very close. We've got that Professor Choro scenario in the hand now as well. Could be very useful for removing damage from play as well as the collapsed stadium.
What's going on?
We do see the Luxurious Cape in hand as well. Could be something that we see get used, boosting the non-Wallbox Pokemon's attached to HP by 100. As we are going to see another refinement being used, though. Yeah, haven't got a lot of cards left in that deck. Going to have to play an Iono at some point.
But the Ultra Ball is there.
The Ultra Ball is there, so we shouldn't be. We can definitely guarantee a Gardevoir EX
yeah,
coming down
we
at some
can
point.
cherry pick the Gardevoir.
It's almost going to be a necessity at this point. I think the easy targets will be both those copy of Psychic Energy as well. Get them in the discard pile. Maybe you can keep one in case, you know, Brennan tries to boss's order store the Greninja or which is in the discard pile actually, so tell a lie. Could be the Jirachi as a boss's order target as well though.
Yeah, there's always Super Odd. For an emergency, putting one energy back in can be helpful. And there, oh my goodness, there is one in the deck. Look at that. There is, in fact, more than one in the deck. However, there are, like, what, 2 cards left after that? I cannot believe Miloslav had to get through that many cards in their deck to be able to find one Gardevoir EX. But he did it, so props to him.
Yeah, the bottom 3 cards of the deck included 2 Gardevoir EX, as we are going to see. We are going to see some energies being attached there via Psychic Embrace. And it looks like we are probably going to see a Moonglow reverse.
It took us a while, but we're finally going to see the dark side of the moon here. Taking out a wait, no, counter-catchering the Comfey.
Yeah, because the Moonglow reverse can only target the active, right, because of the Jirachi. So in order to take a prize, you would have to KO something in the active that has less than 80 HP. Comfey has 70.
There it goes.
So there it goes.
Goodbye, Comfey. Slowing Brennan down a little bit, but they only do need one more Pokemon card in the Lost Zone to activate Sableye, but then can they get Sableye? We know one is still in the discard pile.
I mean, if the Sableye does come out, though, that little Jirachi right there would be doing very well at stopping him from targeting the bench. Would have to target the active, which, to be fair, it could KO the Cresselia. Let's see what Brennan can do. Looks like Nespal is the target, and it is going to be that Sableye.
There he is, yep.
And let's see, we want to see a Mirage Gate activation as well. Mirage Gate letting you grab 2 different type of basic energy. You can attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So
did Brennan do the flower selecting? I can only see 9 in the Lost Zone, but I might be being really silly.
Maybe he hasn't done it yet.
But then he only has 9 in the Lost Zone, so yeah, he's going to have to wait a little bit before being able to use that Sableye. Wow. It's really interesting to see the masters at play with sequence in these decks, because I'd have been overexcited about getting the 10th of the Lost Zone and just gone, come back, straight away. I'd have gone right in there. It shows why I don't play Lost Box, huh?
I guess the reason is you don't want to Lost on any energy, so you take them out the deck first. You can try and hit good cards like Counter Catcher, which is going to get sent to Lost Zone. But I think it was that or Radiant Charizard, so Counter Catcher is going to have to get sent to the Lost Zone. Beach Court gives you a free retreat cost, so we are going to see Lost Mine into the active.
Yeah, and just going for the full 120 damage, taking out the Cresselia for their next prize card. Down to 3 already. Can Miloslav pick up the pace and take some KOs?
Yeah, it's real interesting. This is where Brennan's deck might start to get what he needs to do. Basically saying that the Charizard will take 1 KO at some point, and the Roaring Moon can as well. As Brennan has done well to navigate down to 3 prize cards, so is getting towards that area where a boss KO would KO the Gardevoir. Yes, we do see a rare candy into another Shining Arcana Gardevoir, and they have 140 HP right now, so Sableye cannot deal with them.
No, Sableye's going to have to work a little bit harder, so maybe this is where we might see the Roaring Moon pop out of the deck. Because it's a basic Pokemon, they can accelerate energy onto it using Mirage Gate. Brennan's already got that all set up. But for now, Miloslav is just getting ready. More attackers are on the board and higher HP, keeping them out of range of Sableye, even though Jirachi is down. Miloslav is covering their back, and I love that.
That's what it's all about when you're playing against a world-class player. You have to make sure you're trying to shut down as many avenues of victory for your opponent as possible. Miloslav's doing fantastic. The only thing Miloslav hasn't been able to realistically do is take prize cards, as he's only taken 1 and Brennan's taken 3. So if he was to continue on this 1 prize a turn trajectory, Brennan would have this wrapped up. But the tide is going to start to turn if these Gardevoir can start attacking, via reversal energy or anything like this. So they're not having to take damage, but unfortunately that's not the case.
Here we go.
Let's see. So we're going to see 1 energy from hand and then 1 from Psychic Embrace, I believe. So that means they'll have 120 HP left at Gardevoir.
Which is a bit scary, right? We're ideally wanting to get some Shining Arcana attaches instead. So being able to possibly move the energy back into the deck using Super Rod and then Shining Arcana, because the deck is so thin you could almost guarantee it.
Or you could try and reload your Cresselia as well. I think we do see an Iono being played. Iono to Miloslav to have 5 cards in hand now. Brennan has 3. So I wonder what those cards are. As we do see, let's have a look. So we do see, no, that wasn't Iono. It wasn't Iono being played, sorry. And we are going to see the Brainwave KO, yes.
Nice.
So let's see what Brennan can manufacture here. Does have a Colress Experiment. That is what we like to see, being able to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and, well, keep 3 Lost Zone 2. Oh, but I do see a copy of Basic Dark in there. Does only play 4, so if he wants to attack with that Roaring Moon, we'll need to have 2 available.
Yeah, it's well within the realms of possibility right now, but whether it's worth taking the KO now, they're just going to have to time this really well. No, they have gone and popped 1 in the Lost Zone, so we do have to be really careful with that energy usage now. Yeah,
and that's why I think Brennan is opting to play 2 copies of Super Rod and 2 copies of Clara, because energy is going to be very intensive if you are having to rely on Mirage Gate to power up your attackers, then being Combustion Blast Charizard or Roaring Moon EX. As we do see a Flower selecting, getting rid of a Battle VIP Pass, one of the easiest decisions you will ever have today, Brennan, I promise you.
Yeah, Battle VIP Pass are destined for the Lost Zone. As we can see, all 4 of them have ended up in there this game.
Yeah, as we do see the free retreat via Beach Court, and the second combo is going to activate Flower, selecting Hisuian Heavy Ball or Nest Ball. As the Hisuian Heavy Ball hits the Lost Zone, Brennan probably knows I haven't got any basic Pokemon in there, so that Heavy Ball is almost as useful as the Battle VIP Pass is, so it gets sent to the Lost Zone.
Yeah, once a card is no longer needed, it's better to just pop it in the discard pile, or more ideally in the Lost Zone, so it cannot come back. And for anyone who is new to the Pokemon trading card game, the Lost Zone is an area that is exclusive to each player. Each player has a Lost Zone. Whether your deck utilizes it or not is another thing. But the Lost Zone is essentially a secondary discard pile which you could never receive something back from, unlike the regular discard pile.
Yeah, so once those cards are sent to the Lost Zone, they'll never come back. Why do you want to do this? Because certain cards like Mirage Gate, Sableye, and Kamerman rely on you having a certain amount of cards in the Lost Zone, because if you do, they can start to do some fun things like Kamerman can attack for free via its Lost Provisions ability, Sableye can use Lost Mine, and then Mirage Gate can accelerate energy from the deck.
And we finally see the Charizard. I don't think they've managed to keep the Fire-type energy relatively under wraps until this point. So Charizard's gigantic attack will come into play at some point, I imagine. But for now, they're going for the 110 damage from the Cramorant onto Gardevoir, which limits how much damage Gardevoir can do, because they are no longer going to be able to attach more energy via the Gardevoir EX, because you're not allowed to use Gardevoir EX's ability to KO your own Pokemon.
Yeah, you cannot do that, so that Shining Arcana will not be able to be receiving energy from Psychic Embrace unless we see that a Luxurious Cape get attached to that Gardevoir. So that is something to watch out for here. Over to Miloslav's turn. Let's see. That is a massive hand. You could even do that Professor Churro, maybe even, just to remove that damage. Could be an option. We are going to see, looks like a Super Rod. Iron Up going to shuffle back into Cresselia. Screamtail, and then maybe that Psychic Energy as well. As you said, maybe Miloslav wants to try and get energy in play via Shining Arcana, and in order to do that, we'll need some energy in the deck.
I think it's also clever at this point to make sure that Miloslav is having full control over the amount of cards in their deck, because he's been on 2 for a while now. They've managed to kind of keep that consistent, but if they don't keep the deck populated at the start of your turn, if you require to draw a card and you cannot, then you lose the game. So there's another item card that puts more cards back in your deck with Pal Pad, shuffling 2 supporter cards back into your deck from your discard pile. Miloslav has chosen to have 2 Iono.
We all know that Iono is fantastic at dealing with lost box decks, so they traditionally don't have that much explosive draw power. You can try and limit their hand as much as possible.
Here we go. And also Iono is going to keep Miloslav in the game by being able to manage their own hand size, putting more cards back into the deck and drawing fewer, because they don't need those cards right now.
No, I think Miloslav's perfectly fine off praying off the board, and this will help to remove any options that Brennan might have had before, putting them all the way to the bottom. So let's see how the Iono treats Miloslav.
Oh, Iono has come up with some more Iono.
Oh, wow, and a strong counter catcher there.
Ooh.
Being able to remove this Radiant Charizard from play via Brainwave. We'll need that extra energy attachment, I believe, because they will be swinging for 180 now. And we're going to see a Shining Arcana first. Was that Shining Arcana? Or refinements even. But you are going to see some cards being drawn there. And then, yeah, we see the Brainwave for the KO on that Radiant Charizard. As Miloslav equals up the prizes, I believe, at 3-all. Game on for Brennan.
This is getting really, really close now. Every single card that goes into that loss zone is going to matter for Brennan. They confidently know exactly what they're doing with this deck, though they have played it for a significant time, you can tell. And, oh, that is a tough choice for the Colress experiment, though.
Has already chosen to loss zone the Pokegear, so it does need to loss zone one more. But yeah, all those cards are quite good, useful. Mirage Gate, obviously, super for shuffling back in these Pokemon and energy cards even. And the Clara does pretty much the same thing as Super, but actually getting back to hand. And so we are going to see the Mirage Gate getting sent to the loss zone. So there has to be something in hand that can accelerate energy. As we do see Super Rod being played, letting you shuffle in any three in combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards as well.
So it looks like we're going to be going with the double Sableye, and then Brennan doesn't have access to any psychic type energy right now in the discard pile, so it's going to be a darkness energy or a fire energy. I imagine darkness at this point because the fire energy I think is only there for the Radiant Charizard, and unfortunately that is still currently in the discard pile.
Yeah, so maybe Brennan saying that Radiant Charizard is no longer part of my win condition, so it can stay there. However, Sableye is part of my win condition, opting to shuffle that back in.
Yeah, and maybe even the Mirage Gate going to the Lost Zone was because Brennan knows that the Sableye is probably going to be a large part of their strategy at this point, rather than needing to attach multiple energy per turn. Right now, they're able to kind of survive on the brink just by attaching one energy a turn, especially where Miloslav has to use God of War to damage his own Pokemon.
So we're going to see a free retreat via that beach court on the Comfey. We do see a Boss Orders in Brennan's hand, but it doesn't look like they want to play it this turn. They're going to play a Super, though, shuffle back in Kamerman, maybe iron up that Combustion Blast Charizard, or at least that Fire Energy. We are going to go for Sableye, and then maybe just two targets by looks of it, shuffle in two targets, Sableye and a Kamerman, shuffle them back into the deck.
Yeah, you don't have to shuffle three Pokemon or energy into the deck. You can choose up to three. So Brennan is making sure their deck isn't clogged with things they don't need. They're just making sure that they have the exact cards that they would like to draw from their deck. So
let's see what Miloslav can do here, because I think Brennan actually has a way to win. If he can find a Mirage Gate, can boss his orders up the Gardevoir EX and use Roaring Moon to close the game out. Let's see if Miloslav will play any of those Ionos. I imagine that might be the supporter of choice. Miloslav does start his turn, does promote that Stellar Veil Jirachi, and going to start the turn off there with a refinement. Going to draw two cards. Careful now, Miloslav. Only got one card left in deck now. Can't get too ahead of yourself.
Yeah, and Miloslav's going to need to retreat the Jirachi as well by manually attaching an energy, because they won't be able to accelerate to it via Gardevoir EX.
Yeah,
so that's also a curious point of knowing that they're going to have to attach energy in some way, shape, or form to the Jirachi in order for a retreat cost, because Miloslav, very typically of Gardevoir decks, doesn't run any other pivot of Pokemon. They can't retreat in any other way, but the beach court is there. So actually, yeah, I forgot the beach court is there. That is my bad. Everyone is free to retreat on the beach if they have one energy pip for their retreat cost or fewer, which Jirachi does. There we go. That was a really smart play from Miloslav using Brennan's beach court.
As we are going to see the Shining Arcana does actually get an energy attachment off it as well. So let's see what Miloslav can do. Does have an Iono? Okay, so that Iono is actually really huge. That's going to put that Roaring Moon to the bottom of the deck, and that one copy of Boss Orders that Brennan does have also to the bottom. And You know, traditionally, Lost Box doesn't have a ton of ways to shuffle the deck and doesn't have a ton of ways to draw a lot of cards. So Miloslav doing very well, but probably going to take a prize card this turn and go down to 2 prize cards as well. As Miloslav does find the second copy of Shining Arcana that did get shuffled back in. And we are going to see the Shining Arcana activation. We see that free retreat via the beach court, like you mentioned, and we are going to see a brainwave for KO as Miloslav evens it up again.
Here we are. It could be anyone's game still, and we only have 16.5 minutes left on the round. God of War decks notorious for taking their time, and similarly, Lost Box is on the same plane.
And it looks like, yeah, we are going to see the brainwave. And let's see what Brennan can do. Uh-oh, that hand is Nest Ball and 2 basic energies. Nest Ball, do we go for the Roaring Moon here? Do we go for a Sableye even? We are going to go for the Sableye. But then how do you even deal with this 140 HP Shining Arcana Gardevoir? How do you deal with this?
With 3 energy already on it, so that's the nightmarish part, is that the Gardevoir already has energy.
Yeah.
If you were to put 120 damage counters onto the Gardevoir that had no energy, then you prevent it attacking, which is great. It's fine. It's not a problem. However, maybe Brennan was just trying to thin the deck a little bit before they dig with Comfey.
It looks like they
I think they might be in a sticky situation.
Well, it looks like the Flower Selecting, one of the cards was Chorus' Experiment. Didn't quite see what the other one was. I mean, Combustion Blast would actually get you there. I think it did get shuffled back in via the Super Rod. And that could be an option. That's what hunting for. But then again, I guess he did Nest Ball for the Sableye, so that's probably not the case. We are going to see a Chorus Experiment. Wow, get sent to Lost Zone because the second card was the Roaring Moon. So we are going to see another Flower Selecting. Can't quite make that out. Was it a Counter Catcher and
something that
escape rope, I'd like to say?
The Counter Catcher can't be used right now, so I feel like
it was Counter Catcher and Roxanne. They were the 2 cards.
Ah, that's why, yes, Brennan's clearly just asked me himself, how many cards have you got in your hand? Always a scary question in the Pokemon trading card game.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do it just for fun. I won't have anything in my hand that can do that.
So we are going to see the Roxanne being played there.
Roxanne's a really fantastic disruption card, allowing you to draw 6 cards once you've shuffled your hand to your deck, but your opponent will only get a measly 2.
So if Brennan can get the Combustion Blast Charizard, Radiant Charizard, and KO Miloslav's Brainwave Gardevoir, I think it's actually in a very good spot. And I don't think Brennan's deck's particularly big, so I think there could be a good chance. I think that's what we're looking for here. 1, 2, 3, 4, uh-oh.
Oh.
5, 6. Oh, no, not even a Mirage get to attack with that
Roaring Moon.
With that Roaring Moon, so I think we can't even. Yeah, we haven't got a Psychic Energy to use Lost Mine either.
No, that's maybe Roaring Moon bit off more than it can chew on this occasion.
The thing is, yeah, if he was to bench that Roaring Moon, it could get Boss's Orders and KO for minutes to close this game.
Ooh.
Wow, we do see the Kamerman potentially getting benched. You can at least, pass over. Can Miloslav gust that Roaring Moon? Gust means getting it into the active and KO in it. I don't think Miloslav has a ton of Boss's Orders or Counter Catcher. That was Counter Catcher couldn't be played right now. So let's see what Miloslav can do. It has just been Roxanne, don't forget, but does have 2 copies of Shining Arcana Gardevoir, so we'll be able to draw at least 4 cards. So let's see what Miloslav does do. Does start the turn, or at least does a Shining Arcana. Going to see another Shining Arcana. And doesn't look like...
I've got a few fun facts about this matchup,
Okay.
actually. Not only is this this tournament the second time that Miloslav has ever played this deck. They played it once before the tournament, so they've just, all the practice they've got has been throughout their rounds. And it looks like, from what we can see, this is Brennan's first match against Gardevoir in the entire tournament.
Wow. And if this is your first time against Gardevoir and it's a nail biter like this, how insane is that? Both players, wow, it's really getting nitty gritty now. Every decision can be make or break. And that's what happens when you get to these late rounds at an international championship. Both players consulting the discard pile, want to see what exactly is available. As I do see that Combustion Blast Charizard in the discard pile. Apologies, so that was not an option for Brennan. So let's see what Miloslav can do. Does have that mysterious cape, but he doesn't want to attach that though, especially now that Roaring Moon's in play actually. So we are going to see an energy attached to the benched Gardevoir, maybe debating it.
Really pondering. I think every move at this stage is so crucial. With so little time left on the round, there's a high possibility that we're only going to get one game out of the 3 be completed. So whoever wins this could be the overall winner. They're going for the Brainwave Gardevoir, 3 energy, 60 damage. These players are disrupting each other back and forth and back and forth. However, Miloslav overall is less affected by those sorts of disruption supporters due to the fact they have 2 Shining Arcana Gardevoir on the field, and they're able to draw 4 extra cards per turn with that.
Yeah, so let's see how this Iono does. Resets both players' hands down to do, shuffles the old hand down to the bottom. We are going to see another Psychic Embrace being attached to the Gardevoir on the bench. As he goes down to 1 prize card left, Brennan needs to try. Oh, does have a boss? Oh, he has the boss Mirage Gate!
No!
He got the boss Mirage Gate off an Iono to 2. So you can play the Mirage Gate attached to the Roaring Moon. Boss's orders, the EX.
Look at that. We're whipping up a Calamity Storm.
Wow, and the Calamity Storm for game there off the Iono to 2. Amy, are you having me on off the Iono to 2?
I know, I can't believe it. Sometimes those Ionos just don't pay off. That is absolutely phenomenal. I didn't think they'd be able to bring it back. I was wrong, and I'm so pleased to be. That is the power of Roaring Moon shining bright. My word. There's definitely a full moon today for Brennan.
I was literally about to say that. Yeah, it's a full moon. I cannot believe that. Wow, let's have a quick look and a replay of this total round there, that game, because that was such a chess match going to and fro. Miloslav, remember, started off the game with only 1 Ralts, don't forget. Brennan started to go off to the races as Lost Box decks tend to do. Kamerman was applying pressure. Greninja did absorb a hit as Miloslav did begin to stabilize his board. And those Averys,
the Averys were amazing. Really limiting what Brennan could achieve in the short term, but they absolutely just took their time and yeah, they made it work. It didn't matter.
Yeah, honestly, I can't believe what a close chess match that was. We even saw the Moonglow reverse targeting active Pokemon because the Jirachi from both sides, limiting both players what they want to do, as we do see a Lost Mine into the active there. As we saw Miloslav throwing up as many Pokemon as possible that could absorb Lost Mines for Celia and Raging Greninja. We saw the Kamerman being 10 off a KO here as Miloslav was so meticulous not to damage it. We did see that clutch counter catcher onto the Radiant Charizard, removing that from play. Miloslav doing everything he could in his power, firing off Brennan firing off Roxanne's, Miloslav firing off Ionos. And it just became a chess match. And it looks like, I believe, Miloslav has conceded game 2, I would imagine. We'll try and get confirmation saying, well, I'm not going to beat Lost Box with 10 minutes left on the clock. And I can see the match slip, actually, yes. Brennan has circled winner. So I think Miloslav...
Congratulations, Brennan.
So, yeah, Brennan has won that game. What? Oh, I'm so excited to see how that panned out.
The tables turned so rapidly. Now, we've seen the ferocity of Roaring Moon, but I did not expect to see the ferocity of Roaring Moon in Lost Box. That is truly a moment for the ages, and I think it really shows the diversity of this format. You need to keep all options open. You never know what to expect.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you, when we had that conversation in the hotel the other day, if Lost Box can have essentially 4 free prize cards, 2 via Combustion Blast, and then 2 via Calamity Storm and or Frenzy Gouging, hopefully Kamerman and Sableye can get you those last 2. We have had confirmation, Miloslav did indeed concede that game, saying, well, Gardevoir cannot really beat Lost Box in 12 minutes, so how about I just have a bit of extra time, save ourselves the troubles, and we'll keep it moving for our next round.
Didn't look like it was going to be possible. They had a really terrible hand after setup, so just decided to shake Brennan's hand there and say, look, I'm not going to be able to do anything within this time limit, so you take the win, my friend. Let's go and have a rest before the next round, because these guys have been tirelessly playing for days now at